Are you struggling to price your custom printed white toner products? Well, that's actually one of the biggest things that holds people back at the beginning, learning how to price your products effectively and to make sure you're always making a profit. So fear no more, because today I'm going to be showing you a couple of different pricing strategies that you can use to effectively price all of your white toner transfer products. Now, today we are going to be focusing specifically with the Uninet IColor two-step Select transfer paper. This is going to give us the highest profit margins without having to sacrifice quality. And we all know that that's one of the biggest things that we need to offer our customers: quality products. So by the end of this video, you are going to know how you can calculate your costs with the Select paper, but the strategies I'm going to give you, this can also work with all of the different media types. But make sure that you do subscribe, because in future videos, we are going to be covering pricing strategies for all of the other types of papers and media transfers that we have. So make sure you subscribe so you stay tuned for that. But by the end of this video, you are going to know how you can effectively price your products and make sure you're always making a profit. So with that, let's get started. So as far as some of the different strategies that we can start to implement right now, one of the easiest and quickest ones is going to be the cost plus pricing. Now with this, you're essentially just adding a 50 to 100% markup to all of your material costs. So for example, if your t-shirt costs you about $4 and your transfer types cost you about $3, that means you're paying about $7 in total to be able to print a product. So in this case, we do suggest that you end up pricing your products at about $14, meaning you're pretty much doubling what you're spending. Now, that is the easiest way to go about it. That's going to be the quickest way to go about it, but it's not always going to be the most profitable or the most accurate. And truthfully speaking, you can mark it up a little bit more actually, because think about it. Whenever you go to purchase any t-shirt online, or even if you reach out to a printer and ask them for one custom printed t-shirt, they're easily going to be charging you between $18 to $25, depending on what's being printed. Single color prints are usually about 18 bucks, but anything that's full color, things that we can do with the Uninet IColor White Toner printer, these are usually at a minimum between $25 to $28. Full color printing is very, very lucrative, especially if you can customize it. So if you're selling your own designs, feel free to charge a little bit less. But if you're doing custom work, which a lot of us do, then you are going to be able to charge a lot more for that. Now, another way that you can find out how you can price your products is going to simply be with competitor-based pricing. Now, what does this mean? This would mean reaching out to a few different people in your area, or maybe in a few different areas, and see how much they charge for their products. So ask them how much they charge for one custom printed full color shirt or hoodie or whatever it is that you want to price. And then also ask them for bulk pricing. So ask them for maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe even 20 or 30. Once you get that information, then you can start basing your prices off of that as well. Remember, when it comes to your pricing, this can really, really vary depending on where you live. If you're in a more secluded and rural area, then chances are your customers there probably won't want to pay as much as somebody like, let's say, in a bigger city like Miami or Los Angeles. Now, this next one is going to be value-based pricing. Value-based pricing is going to be very, very lucrative because you're essentially pricing your products at what you value them at. So the more complicated a design, the bigger the design, the more that you can charge. But don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how you can start kind of pricing these a little bit better in just a second. I'm going to give you a few real world examples, and we're going to be breaking down the costs for everything. But with value-based pricing, you can also go ahead and print on multiple different products and increase your prices based on that. So take, for example, a t-shirt. We already said that a t-shirt you can sell between $18 to about $25, and you still make some pretty good profits. But you can get a higher ticket item, so let's say a leather jacket, and then you can print on that. Now, I know leather jackets are pretty expensive, but in order to make an even better profit, you can actually go to somewhere like the Goodwill. You can go ahead and go to any thrift store and look for, of course, high quality products. So there you can find some pretty high ticket products at some pretty low prices. And then once you customize them, you can make even more money. But even better, if your customers want something custom on one of these higher ticket products, then at this point, your earnings are pretty much limitless. So let's go ahead and take some real world examples. So for one, let's start off with a t-shirt and let's break down the pricing step by step. So when it comes to the type of paper that we're using, remember, we're using the Uninet IColor two-step Select transfer paper. This does come with both the A and the B sheets, and it's priced at just $149. So it is going to be the best bang for your buck. And again, you're not compromising on quality for this. Now that is for 100 sheets. So let's take, for example, let's say we go to Michael's and we purchase a t-shirt from there, a basic t-shirt, a basic Gildan t-shirt. That's going to run us between $3 to $4. Let's go on the higher end. Let's go for $4 because that is more or less retail price. We can get better pricing on different websites, but for now, let's stick to this. Then the next thing that you need to take into consideration is going to be your toner. So right now we have three things that we're going to be pricing with. We're going to be pricing with our media transfer type, which is going to be the Select paper. 2 is going to be the t-shirts, and 3 is going to be the actual toner. Now, it is important to note that your Uninet IColor White Toner printer is going to come with all of the toners that you need. So for this, we're not going to be taking into consideration the full cost of the toner cartridges, but what we use. And on average, it's actually just cents. We're pretty much using between 15 to maybe even 50 cents of toner each time that we print something. Toner is very, very cost effective, especially when compared to other printing types like DTF. DTF ink is a little bit pricier and it's not going to last as long. Toner, on the other hand, with laser printers, does last a lot longer, and on average, in the long run, it does come out to be a lot more cost effective. So for now, let's just go ahead and take into consideration 25 cents for the amount of toner that we're using. So in order to find out the cost per print, the first thing that we're going to need to do is find out how much we're paying for each sheet. So how much we're paying for each transfer. And for this, we're going to go ahead and take the amount of sheets that we get in our package, which is 100, and we're going to divide it by the cost, 149. Then we're going to add our toner pricing, which is 25 cents. So in total, we're going to be using about $1.74 worth of printing material. Now we need to add our t-shirt cost, which is $4. So $5.74 per printed product. So how much did we say that we can sell these products for? We said about $18 to about $30, depending on the complexity of it, the size of it, and a few other things. So on average, we can expect to make anywhere between $13 to upwards of $25 per print, or per order, or per t-shirt. Now, I don't know about you, but those are some pretty good profit margins, especially considering the fact that it's not even going to take us an hour to make one of these shirts. This will take us 30 minutes at most. And even then, that's pushing it, because 30 minutes is really how long it takes for my heat press to heat up. The actual printing process and everything is a lot quicker. So if we just do 4 of these every single hour, we're easily making about $100 an hour. All right, so next up we have hoodies. Now hoodies on average on Etsy, they're going to be selling anywhere between $30 to about $60. And I don't know if you noticed, but I do use Etsy a lot. Etsy is one of the best places to be able to sell these types of products, because everyone there offers custom printed products. You can offer anything there that you're pretty much printing yourself, whether that be for custom work or your own designs. But of course, you can't sell your products anywhere else. You can sell them on either Shopify, on eBay, you can even sell them on Amazon, or in person. Just remember that each platform that you're selling on is going to have their own fees. So that's also something else that you do want to take into consideration. But for the most part, Etsy is going to charge you about 6% fees. eBay is going to be about 13% in final value fees. Amazon is 15%. For the most part, Shopify is 3%, depending on the plan that you have. And in person, you really don't have any fees unless you're taking credit cards. Now, hoodies. So hoodies, on average, you can purchase them for about $12 to $15. Let's stick to about $15 because that's more or less how much you can get them for online. Now, taking into consideration our production cost, $1.74, plus our $15 for the hoodie, we're going to be spending about $16.74 to have a printed hoodie. Now, with these selling on average between $30 to $60, you can expect a nice profit margin of about $13.26 all the way up to $43.26 per hoodie. Sell 4 of these, you're easily making upwards of $150 an hour. Now, this next one is actually one that's a little bit different, but it sells really, really good on Etsy. I've seen these sell for quite a good amount of money, and they're super easy to print. And the best part is that they don't even use an entire sheet of paper or an entire sheet of your transfer paper. Now, this is going to be hand towels. Hand towels are awesome for pretty much anything year round. People purchase these whenever they get a new apartment, whenever a new holiday is coming around, or whenever somebody purchases a house, literally for absolutely anything. People love to have these because these can just sometimes hang there as pure decoration. And again, they're very, very lucrative. Now, on average, one of these on Etsy is selling for about $20, but you can get these at the dollar store for just $1. Or it's not $1 anymore, it's like $1.25, $1.50, inflation. But still, those are some very, very healthy profit margins. So let's take into consideration our $1.74 per transfer print, which, by the way, like I said earlier, it's not always going to use the entire sheet. So you can even print 2 designs on one transfer paper, and you're essentially cutting your production cost for printing in half. But for simplicity's sake, let's just go ahead and take into consideration an entire sheet. So it's going to be $1.74 plus $1.25. That's going to give us a $2.99 production cost. Subtract that from the average $20 price, then we're making about $17 per product. Not bad considering that most people aren't going to order just one. A lot of the times they order these in sets. They'll order maybe 2, 3, or maybe even a little bit more. I've actually seen a couple of listings on Etsy that run upwards of $70 or $80, or sometimes even over $100 for seasonal towels. So people buy these at the beginning of the year, and they have a towel for every single season or holiday. So Etsy sellers are pretty much bundling these, making a killing in terms of profits. And when you offer them like this, when you offer them in bundles, you're also increasing your average order value, meaning you're pretty much just going to be making more per order. Before we do finish up, I do want to know one thing from you. What is your biggest problem when it comes to pricing your products? What is the biggest challenge that you're always facing that you need answered? Let me know right now down in the comments below. Let me know what that biggest challenge is for you, and we might make a video on it. Also, if you found this video helpful, then make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe, because we're going to be covering a lot more information in the white toner printing business to help you make a lot more money with your Uninet IColor White Toner printer. So please, if you found this video informational, if you found it helpful in any way, shape, or form, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Huge thank you to everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. My name is Mario with Uninet, and I'll catch you all next time.